Yeah, I mean, one of the things I really wanted to do with this movie is to tell a story that feels a bit different to the first film. I didn't want to repeat myself, because I'm not a big fan of, of sequels that don't necessarily have more to say, and I felt that one of the things that I could really do with Conjuring 2 is the fact that I get to play with the Warrens more, expand on their characters and their relationship, and kind of take them to the next chapter of their lives. And so, going into this, we knew that we had to touch on the story of Amityville because that is the case that put them on the map and made them famous. And so then I felt that we needed a story. We all collectively, between myself, the studio, the producers, the writers, we wanted a story for the body of the film that feels like Amityville as well. By that, I mean, the Enfield case has a lot of similarities to Amityville. Both cases were highly publicized. Both cases have their fair share of skepticism surrounding them, and it just felt like the great story to set number 2 against. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that makes it really fun for me is taking the location, the setting of this movie out of the United States and move it to England, and by doing that, that meant that the movie takes on a very different aesthetic, has a very different look to it, and that allows me, from a filmmaking standpoint, to design a very different visual world, a very different visual landscape, but one that still feels like the first movie, like they belong together still. There's still a sense of uniformity, but that I can kind of explore it more, and one of the things I think that I really love about Conjuring 2 is the fact that the house that it takes place in now isn't your typical classic, horror movie haunted house. It's not a big giant gothic mansion. It's actually quite the opposite. It's a small little cramped, townhouse in the, a council house on the outskirts of England. It's not isolated. It's very rural. It's very urban in its setting. Lots of pedestrians, lots of people around, and so I just thought it just gave it such a different flavor to the first film. Obviously, all the exterior stuff, locations, were shot in England, shot in London, and actually shot in Enfield, in the boroughs of Enfield. So, because I wanted it to be as authentic as possible. But the interior of the house is a set. It had to be a set because I'm doing things to the house that that people would not let me do it to their house otherwise if I were to shoot in a real home. And so if you build a set, you can kind of shoot that anyway. The Enfield case is obviously a story that has been around for a long time, and I think it truly is one of the most documented paranormal cases in the world, purely by the fact that so many people have gone to that house during the height of it in the late 70s, between 77 and 79, and have experienced things that they couldn't really explain. The fact that that the Hodgson family went and got a pair of police officers and tell them, hey, there's something weird happening in our home, can you come and check it out? And the fact that the 2 police officers came in and saw things move on their own, furniture pieces moving everywhere that they couldn't really explain, and that they actually follow that. I mean, that's what makes this one unique, because usually these stories, it's always the family experience it, but no one else really see it. But in this case, a lot of people felt and saw and experienced what was happening.